All right, you're all set.
Okay, thank you. Okay, good evening. I'm Steve Shabbat. I'm the chair of the Community Development Committee. Tonight's meeting, I am calling to order. It's 7:03. The meeting is the Community Development Block Grant COVID funding public comment meeting, and we will begin.
All right, thank you, Steve. How this is gonna work is we did have people sign up ahead of time for a minute slot. I will call on you and you'll just take a second for me to give you permission to speak. So our first speaker is Dan Whalen from Boys and Girls Club. So let me welcome you in here. Hi, Dan. You should be able to just unmute yourself now.
Yeah, can everyone hear me?
Yes, thanks for joining us, Dan. So you have about 5 minutes.
Okay, great, thanks. Thank you all for taking the opportunity. I know everything gets a little more complicated. Andrew, I see you're live streaming and doing all that stuff on that side, multitasking. So thank you all for allowing this opportunity so that we can at least speak for what these funds are going toward and the importance and significance of them. First, I would just want to talk about a little bit what the club has been doing and just paint a picture of what we have going on here. I'm very proud of the Boys and Girls Club throughout this whole pandemic. We've stepped up from the beginning and have always been willing to be on the front of whatever this community needed. Whether in the spring we were delivering food to members, opening virtual clubs. In the summer, we were one of the first public places to open our doors. We knew that when Parks and Recs wasn't able to proceed, that there was going to be a huge demand, and made sure that we stepped in there. And then when September hit and schools saw that they weren't in a position to open safely with the numbers of kids, we knew that our families more than any would be struggling with access to resources, the ability to provide a successful atmosphere for their kids to be successful in virtual schooling. So since September, we have been open for virtual schooling for our members and for anyone. We've picked up a lot of newer members too with the change need. Typically, the club, for those of you who aren't aware, I know that most people that I can see on this call are, but we're typically open from 2 o'clock to 8:30 daily. That's our zone. We're complementary to school. So we back up what our kids have had going on in the day, help them navigate through things in the neighborhood. As this change has happened, we wanted to make sure that we provided this need for our family while also not losing the important aspects that club gives regularly. So we have been open from 7:30 in the morning until 8 o'clock on a daily basis. So we've picked up an extra 6.5 hours a day, which we've been stretched, and we'll make sure that we see this all the way through because we've had such an amazing experience with this, although difficult and very, very trying. I always point out that not just for our staffing who, virtual everything is very difficult to navigate as it is for our kids, but also, you have to give a big credit to our staff as role models and stepping up because not one of our staff signed up for 7:15 a.m. They were hired for 12:15 in the afternoon, and they have been on the front line, happy every morning, and just providing a positive experience in schooling for our kids. So, I just want to touch base on some of the things that we're doing here. We are even going above and beyond just being open. We've worked before, even pre-COVID, on developing education waivers so that we can open up those doors that HIPAA typically has closed us with contacting guidance counselors and teachers and having open conversation. And we've had students that have come in that we've seen are very, very far behind, and we've had the ability to catch them up, the ability to communicate with teachers and school district, which has been amazing to be able to link that now because our kids would not have recovered from where they were headed. But also even more encouraging that these bridges are being built to move a stronger relationship between the club, our kids, and the school moving forward past COVID. This is something we were working on before and has only strengthened through this. Let me just picture in the day of the club, we get in at 7:30. Well, kids get here at 7:30. We are here at 7:15. And we have separate groups. We have one group upstairs, which tend to be our middle school group, our older group. Our younger group is downstairs. We keep our groups separated, which obviously with our restrictions takes a lot more staffing. It's more than what we're normally equipped for. So one of the biggest things about the funding here is that it makes us this possible, because we are struggling with the stretch of our staff and you know, the ability to cover all these hours. You know, the Boys and Girls Club is often, if you look on, you know, what we have on our organizational chart, we're very thin. We maximize all dollars given to us and make sure that they go toward providing program for kids. So the COVID and extension of hours has been very, very difficult on us. We've lost those prep times, those planning times, where we usually get ahead on programming, and we've just made sure that we are fully dedicated on making sure the kids have a safe place. We've worked with our community partners to ensure that we are providing breakfast and lunch. So these are kids that may not have had access to that before. We have technology here, be it Chromebooks, laptops, iPad, so that kids that do not have them will have them. And they have the opportunity, the same platform for success that other kids in our community have, as well as reliable Wi-Fi. And like I said, beyond just providing these core things that provide success, we even reach beyond in contacting the district and ensuring that our kids are being as successful as we can. One of the things through the pandemic that's been very difficult for us to see is it's our families especially have a lot of our younger members that are being at the care of either their older siblings, grandparents, or other family members who can't give them the attention they need to help them navigate schooling. And that has been the biggest bright spot for us. We have families that are in hotels. We have families that have been displaced since March. And they do everything they can to get their kids here because they know we can deliver on a product that they struggle with. Whether it's you're being pulled away from work or whether it's you don't have the reliable Wi-Fi, we've really been a lifeline for our families. And you know, so as far as the essential care grant that we applied for, that's the core of it, is that this is allowing us to be open and to provide these resources for families and kids that would not have had these resources otherwise. The offside of that, I should say, the complementary piece of that is that we're able to continue to stay open until 8 o'clock. We've actually, you know, it's been a very difficult year for us at the club. We've lost 2 members this year. They're kids that we were very, very close to, both during times that where pre-COVID club would have been open. Now, you never know where a kid will be. You know, you can't really predict anything that, but it's been a tough thing to handle. So it's important that we're dedicated to stretching these hours to making sure that kids are in a safe place with all that's going on in our neighborhood. It wouldn't be possible without the support of grants like this. And, you know, also to point out that we understand the crunch that the community development block grant, the committee is on. There's tons of need. There's tons of people that apply. We understand that. And so we have applied with the understanding that we're all in this together. And this, in our application, is for the minimum of what we need to make sure that we can continue this model.
Thank you, Dan. And thanks for everything you do.
No, thank you guys. I mean, the community as a whole, I mean, we're very fortunate. And you know, as me personally, as someone who grew up in this community, happy to be where we are, happy to have people that put in their time, like on these committees, to invest into our community.
Thank you. All right, the next speaker is Erin Barut from Legal Services. So if you just give me 30 seconds. Actually, I guess not even. So now, Erin, you could unmute yourself.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. So you're also, if you could keep it to as close to 5 minutes as possible.
Great, okay. Good evening. I'm Erin Barut, attorney in charge of the Ulster County Office of Legal Services up the Hudson Valley. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with you tonight. For those of you who don't know, Legal Services up the Hudson Valley has been providing free civil legal services to low to moderate income Ulster County residents since 2004. We're located at 550 Aaron Court in Kingston, and currently we have a staff of 12, which includes 7 attorneys and 5 legal professionals. I'd like to thank the Common Council and the Advisory Board for funding LSHV programs in the past, both for regular grant years as well as most recently the program through the CDBG-CV CARES Fund. The residents of the City of Kingston benefit from these grants tremendously. These last 10 months have been trying and pivotal for everyone, to say the least. Early in the pandemic, Legal Services submitted a proposal to the City of Kingston for CDBG CARES funds to assist individuals who have been harmed by the pandemic. Our Our targeted services were to prevent people from losing their homes, either through unlawful evictions or foreclosures, as well as helping residents maintain their economic stability during the crisis by assisting with denials or terminations from government benefits, as well as providing information and access to stimulus payments or COVID-specific benefits. Our initial request for the previous round was $120,000 to fund a full-time attorney caseload to assist the residents of the city of Kingston, and the council graciously and generously funded our initial proposal in the amount of $70,000. During the first 6 months of round one funding, we've opened 27 cases for Kingston residents who have been affected by the pandemic. That's 27 cases affecting 54 household members. Our total projected case numbers were based on the level of funding that we received was 58 cases and 145 household members. So at this point, we're right on target to assist the number of clients that we projected in the 1-year time frame based on that level of funding. And we're meeting the target number, and this is with a moratorium that's continued to be extended. Once the moratorium is lifted, there's going to be an onslaught of Kingston residents facing homelessness. So far, we've done a lot of advocacy with landlords and local social services, other government agencies, as well as providing advice and counsel to clients outside of the courts. However, come May 1st, when the governor's moratorium is over, we expect that the need for direct representation in court is going to be at a level that our office has never seen before. So I'm here to ask the advisory board and the council to fund legal services of the Hudson Valley for the remainder of our initial request so that we can continue legal research, advice, advocacy, negotiations, and representation to Kingston City residents to help maintain their housing and income stability during and in the aftermath of the crisis. Our low income target populations are the most vulnerable, and now especially more than ever. Our goals of assisting low to moderate income households with income stabilization and to preserve their housing directly aligns with the goals of CDBG. Kingston residents facing eviction during and or because of the pandemic, they need individualized assistance of a knowledgeable attorney. Through the governor's executive orders, the housing laws are changing. They're giving pandemic-specific timelines and protocols. An example of that is who can be assessed for late fees on rent arrears. And so in a situation like this, when clients are coming to us, we have to complete an assessment of the charges due, compare them against the law, and make sure that they're accurate. Additionally, the New York courts have instituted procedural changes, and this is already to a system that was complex to navigate on your own without an attorney. Our attorneys have been researching, staying on top of quickly changing laws and benefits and legal procedures so that we can provide our clients with the best possible assistance and outcome. I wanted to highlight some of the trends we've been seeing and the work that we've been doing under the first part of this grant. In terms of mortgages, homeowners who have been harmed by the pandemic may not understand or know that they have legal rights to ask for a forbearance if they're struggling on their mortgage payment. And this is in part because there's just so much information out there right now. It's hard to stay on top of it all, but also in part because not all lenders are being forthright with what the homeowners are entitled to. So we are counseling Kingston City homeowners who qualify under this grant that they do have options for forbearance. We can assist them with securing it and make sure that they're not being wrongfully denied. We can explain, what happens at the end of the forbearance and what to expect. In terms of benefits and income stabilization, many agencies have switched to remote work. That's including, Social Security Administration and other local social service agencies. And there's huge backlogs for any kind of application for benefits. So our office is assisting clients who need help navigating the systems. We're putting in the legwork to try and get them responses and decisions that they desperately need in terms of keeping their income stable. We're assisting clients with unemployment issues, and a lot of these are people who have never been clients of legal services before. They're in a situation that they never in a million years thought that they would be in. Additionally, there's pandemic-related benefit issues that we're seeing a lot of. In terms of housing cases, we're helping clients who've received termination notices. We're advocating with landlords or their attorneys, which often means explaining the ever-changing laws to them. We're helping clients find COVID-based rent relief programs if possible. We're representing clients if there are certain categories that may fall outside of a moratorium. We're advocating if there's been illegal lockouts for emergency relief to try and get people back in their homes. We're seeing a lot of self-help eviction measures, such as the landlord is not making necessary repairs or turning off the heat, and in order to get the tenant out of the apartment sooner. The issues are not always because someone has been laid off or a reduction in income. We've seen many residents with no place to go because there's a flood of market listings of houses for sale locally. There's a fierce competition for urban dwellers who are coming from New York City and higher density areas. They're choosing Kingston, which is an amazing community, but they're coming up here. And so we've seen a lot of houses on the market, and we're counseling tenants on their rights and intervening where necessary. The underlying theme is that people just don't have a place to go, so maintaining their current housing is imperative. I think the most stark example of this is we had an individual come to our office. They had been illegally removed from their housing due to a bed bug infestation, and the person was not able to, for several reasons, obtain emergency shelter. And they were sleeping in their friend's storage unit. Their friend didn't have a place to put them and didn't want them in their home because of bed bugs. They were literally sleeping in a storage unit. They had nowhere else to go. So we were able to intervene and help the individual be placed in emergency shelter, and we're sorting out the housing matter. So we work holistically with our clients to evaluate their imminent threats of eviction and look at, trying to stabilize their income. We leverage our other grants that we already receive in areas of law and we make sure that we fully address the client's need. We have another program called Solutions to End Homelessness program through New York State, and we're using that in conjunction with our legal services to prevent evictions and help with security deposits or rent going forward. And we're using our partnerships with other agencies to make sure other needs are met. So in closing, I'm requesting that legal services of the Hudson Valley be funded additionally to continue our work with Kingston City residents who have been harmed by the pandemic. Based on the success of our past CDBG projects, as well as the start to this first round of CDBG Cares, legal services of the Hudson Valley is going to be an important component to the individuals and families in Kingston surviving and recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next speaker is Christine Hein from People's Place. Christine, you should be able to unmute yourself now. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Welcome.
Hey, all right. Thank you so much for doing this and giving us an opportunity to speak. I will stay within my 5 minutes. I'm starting my timer now. I think the biggest thing to say about People's Place is in 2020, through the pandemic, we never shut our doors. We were the first people to respond to the need of food in our community. Basically, it hit our area hard March 16th, and that was on a Thursday afternoon. And we had people, volunteers and staff who came in and volunteered on the weekend, and we started handing out extra food for the Bag Student Hunger Program immediately on Monday. In 2020, we handed out over 1.1 million meals out of People's Place. So grants like this are imperative to our operation. We were not planning on doing 1.1 million meals last year. We had a budget for 750,000. And when you have such an increase, it means you need more people. And that's why we wrote this grant as the second opportunity for this round. We did hire the 2 women to do the jobs that we spoke about in this grant, which are basically all for COVID protection. Their jobs are outside. It's miserably cold outside right now. And it's to make sure that all people who come to People's Place, including our volunteers, stay safe and healthy so that we don't have to shut down. Because when we shut down, it creates a big gap within our community. So this grant ensured that we can take the measures for COVID that we need to do, the screening, to make sure that we're able to provide programming. One of the jobs was for registration for Thanksgiving and for Project Santa, which worked beautifully this year. We helped 1,700 children, over 1,700 children, which equaled over 800 households. Very orderly, spread out so that we maintained what the guidelines are for COVID, the amount of people who could be gathered in a spot at one time, the distances that we needed to make sure that people are using the type of personal care protection that they need to be to come onto our property. So like everything we do, we try to make sure everyone stays safe and be able to offer the amount of food and other things, whether it's life essentials, food or clothing. We're still offering clothing, even though the thrift stores temporarily closed the last month. Once COVID really spiked, we had to cut down in some areas, but people come to us and they need help, whether it be with housewares or clothing. They still greet, still come in contact with the greeter. They still go through all the safety measures. And then a volunteer goes in and packs everything for them and brings it out to them. That's what we do. We've been doing it since 1972. We haven't let anything stop us. Grants like this one help us continue to help the people who live within Ulster County, the majority of them from the city of Kingston. Yeah, that's what I have to say.
Thank you.
You're
so
welcome.
Nice seeing you, but it's nice hearing you.
All right.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice night. Our next speaker is Stephanie Crystal from the Ulster Immigrant Defense Network. So let me just find you here. Okay. All right, you should be able to unmute yourself, Stephanie.
Righty. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
So my name is
5 minutes would appreciate it. Thank you.
I didn't prepare like a huge speech or anything, but my name is Stephanie Crystal. I am here to represent the Defense Network. We started in 2017 as a response to the current administration's immigration policies. And we started as a group of concerned citizens as well as religious organizations and affiliates. We were under the sponsorship of a church, Holy Cross Santa Cruz in Kingston, Episcopal Church, until April of this year when we became a 501c3. We are working with a population that is low income, at times no income, underserved and disadvantaged. The friends that we work with are not entitled to stimulus checks, unemployment, and they don't get to work remotely. In addition, many of the families, many of the individuals work day and seasonal labor, which ordinarily ends in the colder weather. So that's something that folks are used to. But when COVID hit, this community got hit very hard. There is already a lot of fear in the community, as you can imagine. Some of the work that we were doing since 2017 was rent, utilities, and food assistance, legal assistance, know your rights trainings, tutoring after school program. And we have a transportation and accompaniment program where we accompany people and transport them to Federal Plaza in New York City for court hearings and to the Bronx for ICE check-ins. And so that has been suspended with the courts being closed, which is actually a bit of a reprieve for many of the people we work with. So our focus has heavily been on helping people have food security and to be able to to be able to stay in their homes, to help assist with paying their rent. For the kids who are working remotely, many families did not have internet service. So we are ensuring that we are able to assist with that. We also have a tutoring program that is now being done remotely. Our food assistance, when, first and foremost, we are so, and I should have said that at the very beginning, we are so very grateful for the grant. When we first started off, when I first applied for the grant, we had 143 families. Now we're working with 275 in Ulster County, 250 approximately in the city of Kingston, which comes out to about 1,000 individuals. And that keeps growing as we have become well known and trusted in the community with our friends. We have new families continually. We have learned to be very adaptable. So during March and April of last year, our food pantry converted to a shop and deliver program with 200 volunteers bringing food weekly to every family. That was, I think, close to 200 at the time. Then in the nicer weather, we switched to an outdoor market where we provided food from the pantry. In addition, we provide clothing. And now we're back to our pantry, but instead of having people come inside, we're packing up the food and we're putting everything outside, and we have it socially distanced, and people are wearing masks and being safe. Another issue is we also, well, one thing in our pantry, we also provide culturally adaptive foods, foods that, you know, are essential and basic needs, you know, for the people in the community. And in addition, WIC is great, and we're so grateful that a lot of our new families can be signed up for WIC. However, due to COVID, WIC has been about a month, sometimes even more than that, behind. So we keep a continual supply of things like distilled water and Infamil baby formula, in addition to diapers and those needs as well. In addition to the pantry, we have about 7 to 10 folks that we deliver every week. Some folks have COVID and they're home. Other people have emergent situations where they just don't have any food. As the person, a few people spoke to tonight, a huge fear in the community, you know, has been about evictions, and it's great that we have an eviction ban and it keeps getting extended. Sometimes people have been afraid, you know, anyway, that they're going to be asked to leave. And so, you know, one of our main goals is food security, but the other is helping people to achieve economic stability and be able to stay in their homes. So we are hoping that we get a continued second round, because that will enable us to continue to supply our pantry and feed the families in the community. In the wintertime in particular, we can't rely on the donations of farms because, you know, they're just not producing. The community has been great with donations, but our expenses have gone up from about $5,000 a month to close to $10,000 for food alone. So, this grant would greatly allow us to continue our food pantry, supplying food, and also to focus on the other programs that we have. So thank you for your time, and thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Have a nice night.
Bye-bye.
For everything you guys are all doing.
Thank you so much. Bye.
The next speaker is Chris Silva from Ymca. Chris, you should be here and being able to unmute yourself.
Yep, here I am.
How are you?
I'm okay. How you guys doing?
All right.
Thanks for the opportunity to speak. For 35 years, the Barut has presented extensive, in-depth programming, arts and education program to thousands of children in several economically disadvantaged school districts in a 5-county region. Since taking over Ymca in 2006, we've continued to expand all of these programs. Despite COVID, the Barut is committed to presenting arts and education programming to 20,000 children this year, the majority of whom are classified as low to moderate income. Like most arts organizations, our current problems are centered around the pandemic, including gaps in funding, extensive programming challenges, and keeping arts and education programming vital in our schools. As such, we've established a new virtual arts and education initiative, which is being offered free of charge. Thus far, we've engaged thousands more students than we could have predicted or even hosted in person. Working in partnership with district teachers, this free arts and ed program offers timely, in-depth exposure to multicultural and traditional artists through virtual residency programs, digital field trip opportunities, and participatory performances. With no in-person residencies in 2020 or projected in 2021, our teaching artists and partners have developed ways to offer their talents digitally. For many of the students enrolled in Kingston City Schools, these programs are the only exposure to professional arts that they will receive all year. Grant money would directly support our ability to continue our free virtual arts and ed services to the community. Funding would be utilized for artist fees, technology, staffing. Here's an overview of the program. One of the final performances we presented live before we had to close down was Eric Carl's The Very Hungry Caterpillar. We got 3,000 kids into UPAC for the two performances of that show, about 350 of them from Kingston. Since closing, we successfully streamed Sugar Skull, a celebration of the Day of the Dead, to over 600 Kingston teachers, students, and families in late October and early November. The following is a letter we received from one Kingston teacher. Sugar Skull was a terrific experience. The study guide was extremely high quality, full of useful material. Mexico Beyond Mariachi is just fantastic. We love the instrument walkthrough. I thought you did an amazing job of appealing to young children and to older students with the blend of fantasy and fact. The interviews were touching, informative, and my kids really connected to the idea that the Day of the Dead is a way to honor the dead and make peace with loss. I love how you connected to the concept of what we're all experiencing during the pandemic. My Mexican American students felt seen and were happy to share some parts of the Day of the Dead from their homes. That was so cool. And my students from other Central American countries made connections to their cultures as well, though they do not celebrate Day of the Dead. All the students connected to the joy and emotion of the production and were dancing in our seats, those at school and at home. Overall, this was a rich experience, and I truly appreciate the work that went into it. My students are writing letters to the performers, though I wish I had recorded our conversations, as their letters do not reflect the thoughtful and enthusiastic response I saw in class. Thank you so much. It's a teacher named Kristen, from a fifth grade teacher from J. Watson Bailey School, social studies ELA teacher. We received a lot of responses like that to Sugar Skull. Starting in September of last year through November, we shot and edited our production of Rhapsody in Black, one-man play about racism in America that we've been touring nationwide for 6 years. It has also played in Kingston a couple of times over the last 6 years. We plan to stream it in February in conjunction with Kingston's Black History Month events and have 1,000 reservations from Kingston teachers and the general public so far. Planned for the remainder of the winter, spring are multi-day streams of residency activities and performances from Step Africa, a Washington, D.C. based ensemble dedicated to the African-American dance form known as stepping. The Nego Gato Brazilian music and dance ensemble for a multi-day residency. Layer the Walls from the Lower East Side, New York, an interactive workshop about immigration. Jazz Reaches History of Jazz, and 12 30-minute videos. And we're currently at UPAC now shooting high wire artist Philippe Petit, the famous Twin Towers man on wire, in a new high wire piece of his called Open Practice, which we'll be offering to schools and families as a stream this spring. We've also created about a dozen other streaming programs that since we closed, that showcase hundreds of local and national artists and have attracted thousands of viewers from around the world. And our holiday streams, The Christmas Carol, Nutcracker, Messiah, went viral with nearly 1 million views, which amazed us. A couple of weeks ago, we put out a stream called Envision Kingston, which celebrates dozens of organizations and people in the city who work through the arts to make Kingston a better place to live. That's our program. I thank you for listening, and I hope you can support us.
Thank you very much, Chris. The
You're
next
welcome.
speaker is Heidi Kirchner from the YMCA. Heidi, you could just unmute yourself now. You have access.
All right, can you all hear me?
Yes, we can. How are
All
you?
right, thank you very
Welcome.
much. Thank you so much for your consideration for the YMCA Senior Fitness Program in a safe environment. Sadly, today, the US exceeded 24 million in reported coronavirus infections with over 400,000 COVID-related deaths. If there is a ray of light to this, the 10-day number is in a downward trend. But we know the impact of the disease has on our population is going to be up to us or with us for a while. Our seniors happen to be our vulnerable population who have suffered significantly and during the pandemic have stayed home. And for many, this means home with no visitors or activity. Research has linked social isolation and loneliness to higher risk for a variety of physical and mental conditions, such as high blood pressure, heart disease, and obesity. And chronic loneliness can weaken immune cells and have that can cause problems fighting off viruses and infections. And those people who find themselves unexpectedly alone due to the death of a spouse or a partner or separated from friends or family are at particular risk. Conversely, we know that people who engage in meaningful, productive activities with others tend to live longer, boost their mood, and have a sense of purpose. And these activities seem to help maintain their well-being as well as improve their cognitive function. Seniors need reasons to leave their homes and opportunities to interact and engage in light to moderate exercise. And since many seniors have fixed and low incomes, and under current conditions, that might be even worse, they need opportunities to go places that are inexpensive. And the Y is offering a safe, low-cost suite of social exercise programs to appeal to seniors. Our history shows that programming offered at least twice a week that include an educational component are filled with seniors. The suite of programs we plan to offer, and individuals can attend one or they can attend all three, include a senior strength training, which teaches seniors how to get back into strength training, geared toward those who want to start or restart a strength fitness regime. And then our Sit and Fit program, and don't let the name fool you. I've gone through this program a couple of times. And even though you're sitting down, there is light cardio and there is a workout. And to make it a senior trifecta, we've added Tai Chi for arthritis. This is a bi-weekly program that helps improve mental and physical balance and improves the ability to relax and improves posture and immunity. It also reduces the rate of falls for older adults. So the Y is super excited to be able to offer these classes. We know that seniors will find the classes fun and provide a sense of renewed energy and become more active and socialize. And that is really critical at this point in time, coming out or close to coming out of the pandemic. So we really want to thank everyone for considering this, and hopefully that there will be some funding for this program. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. Have a nice night. Thanks for everything you do.
Thanks.
The next speaker is Drew Andrews from CCE. Drew, you should have access, so all you have to do is unmute yourself.
Hello.
Hi, Drew. How are you? Welcome.
Hi, Andrea. Hi, Common Council. How are you? Thank you all for giving us a chance to speak publicly. I'd also like to thank our community partners, People's Place, Boys and Girls Club, Hodge Family of Woodstock, and the Rondout, and of course the YMCA. We're all doing the work here, and all deserve support. This is in response to our Project Access program. So in response to area school districts going to virtual learning, CCE developed Project Access, which is a daytime program that provides a safe, socially emotional environment for our youth. Project Access provides access to food, fun, tech devices, tutors, caring adults to help with remote learning, Wi-Fi, also arts enrichment, and professional teaching artists in a safe social emotional learning with safe youth interactions. We have found that some of our children come to CCE feeling angry, anxious, sad, scared, and Project Access allows our youth to relax enough to learn, which is vital to youth success. Project Access is especially effective for our youth that are hands-on learners, with a special focus on students who have IEPs, 504 plans, and such. Instruction will be or is synchronous and asynchronous at CCE, following the New York State standards and working closely with the Kingston City School District. We also keep in close contact with teachers, social workers, therapists, and families. Now, I guess a few months ago, several times I've emailed a petition with over 387 Kingston residents in support of Project Access. With also, we had a few testimonials that was in extreme support and pretty much a lifeline to them continuing what they had to do in terms of work, taking care of their business, and having a safe place for their children to go during the day. And the work is extremely arduous, and it's also something that we know that our community needs because they asked for it. We'd like you to support the Project Access, in which 100% of 125 youth from pre-K to 12 attend for free. We've reached out to the county executive office and different members of the community, like Novo. Many of our community also donates to continue funding the 15 staff members that we had to hire, along with materials and different supplies that we needed to purchase. Not to mention the extremely high rent that CCE pays to stay at Energy Square. I just kind of want to touch base on my initial reaction to the allocation of the $10,000 that Project Access was allotted by the council after the mayor suggested that $25,000 was something that he suggested. I was kind of disappointed. I was very saddened, but not for me. I was saddened because it to me, it really felt like a blatant disregard for the community that we serve, that is an extreme need. And because we and so many others are there, I look at this as priority. Someone once asked me, and a parent say, Drew, when you speak about the work that you and so many are doing, you speak as if like it's an emergency. I said it's a sense of urgency when it comes to our children and their future. A lot of our kids are not thriving. They really need us, and we really need each other in our community. We need to support the work that's being done, not only in the day, but it overlaps into the afternoon. What happens is, because parents are dealing with, of course, Dan coined it correctly in terms of what's happening in the community. We have people losing their life. One of our children that he had, and we also had, and children are just failing out. They're losing it, and it's going to be us, especially the nonprofits, to be there for them. I'd love to have our community, our city, support us much more than what I'm seeing. And we'll need to do this together. I feel that the importance is in our children and in our future. If I feel that we're getting the support from different places, but I need to feel, and I'm sure that many of our organizations need to feel a commitment from our city, our city. You guys need to stand up and come see who we're working with. Come and talk to the parents. Really make yourself visible so there's no separation. I don't want to feel as if CCE or any of the organizations are not getting the support, first and foremost from the city, that the residents you're supposed to support. We are doing the work on the ground. I hate to make it feel this way. I mean, initially, I didn't want to get on this call because I felt so distraught, and I didn't know where to go because I was like, what is the city? Do they have something against us? How is it that the first time that we started a summer program, we were completely X'd out and denied, and then we're here and we get little to nothing, and we're begging everyone outside of our community to run these programs. I really need you guys to kind of step up and do your due diligence to make sure that we are all in support and we're like arm in arm in taking care of our community. And please, if you have any question about the work that we're doing and you really care to me, I know that you're doing what you can, and it's not easy. I'll give you that. But I really need you to come to Energy Square and check out, come visit our kids, sit around, talk to parents. You have an open invitation. But it's going to be extremely important. We have kids that are dealing with parents who are dying, that are on drugs, that are abusing them. As Dan said, we have 8-year-olds watching 2-year-olds, and we're providing a space for them in the city of Kingston, which is one of the best cities in upstate New York. I need you guys to show that. I need you to step up. I need you to support us more than, I'm sorry, $10,000 is not going to do it for us. I'll take anything you can give us, but $10,000 is not okay. Not when we're spending, an enormous amount begging everyone outside of our community to support our kids, because we know that the importance of education. Now, people are kind of starting pods all around this country, and they're shooting out with in speedboats, and we're like paddling. Our kids are feeling the brunt of this COVID. And I don't feel that, I don't want there to be a disconnect in my city. I'm here to support you, and you're supposed to be here to support me, and I don't feel supported right now. So, that's pretty much all I have to say. I had many parents that wanted to jump on. I don't know if they're connected, but please come to CCE. Don't turn a blind eye to the kids that you would affect and that we're affecting on a daily basis. If anything, I feel the community needs an organization that's predictable and reliable. And we are that. If there's any questions, comments, concerns, please don't hesitate to come here. Talk to my parents, talk to your community, talk to them. You're here to represent us. So please show that by backing it up with the type of support that we need as well. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Courtney Strong from Business Alliance of Kingston. All right, Pat, you're in, so all you have to do is unmute yourself.
Thank you, Andrea, and everybody for hearing us tonight. Yeah, the Business Alliance of Kingston has been in Kingston since 2009. And what we have in mind for this particular program is true micro grants. So as you know, as anyone who's paying attention knows, driving around the city, we are seeing more and more businesses closing, shuttering. I had a particular experience this summer, which I shared with the rest of the Business Alliance team, where I am on the Kingston Local Development Corporation. The charter of that organization has very specific rules about how it can make loans to the community. We were able to give out some great loans, but it certainly did not penetrate to the level of small and businesses that were in real everyday danger of closing. I brought applications to lots of folks and found that they either had an issue with credit score or some other impediment to getting a loan. So we talked and we devised this microgrant application to one, draw on national and actually international research that shows that microgrants can go a long way. It's a little improbable, but making a small loan to someone in business can make a big difference. It's well documented. And we do have a track record of handling CDBG funds. We've been grantees of the Made in Kingston program funds of the city through CDBG for a number of years. And we also received a CDBG grant for the Main Street Manager program that was a 3-year effort on our part that was very successful under Mayor Sotile. So we have the team. It'll essentially be the individuals who produce Made in Kingston. There's a outreach worker, there's a web designer, it'll be an online application. And this is 100% aimed at business owners who can meet the LMI criteria. So they will be asked for either an income tax return that verifies their income status, or proof that someone in their household qualifies for LMI programs such as HEAP, such as SNAP, or other programs that community development and HUD, can make us aware of. So we're ready to go. We do see that it's a smaller amount than we requested, and we're fine with that. We're going to cut all our, well, we had very small admin costs, but we're going to cut them all in half or more than in half to accommodate the different sum that has been proposed. And we think we can do a lot of good. It's obviously not a huge amount of money, but we think it can inject some hope and optimism into the business community, particularly along the Broadway corridor, which has been, historically where a lot of businesses get started. And so we want to make sure that that business district remains as vital as possible. So we'll be encouraging applications from there, but also from citywide. And I'm just thankful to be able to present that to you now. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pat. The next speaker is Kelly Smith from Read and Write. Kelly, are you there?
Hello?
Hi, Kelly. Did you want to speak tonight?
Look, after Drew spoke, I don't know if there was nothing else anybody had to say. I mean, I don't really know what to say. This is the first time I've ever done anything like this. I just really support the Read and Write program. As I know, I did that virtual show not too long ago, or speaking with the Kingston Freeman, and it's just that the kids are in a really bad space right now, with this pandemic, with the COVID and everything, with their learning. And it's so important for these kids to have this outlet. It's so important that they have the read and write. It's so important that they continue to have the creative learning, the creative education, things like that. And when it comes to the funding, I honestly don't know about it, but that don't seem like enough. Even like you want to give the Read and Write program, that doesn't seem like enough to cover everything that we need. I mean, who knows whose kids go to the programs that are there that are designed? I don't know if anybody in the Congress or in the elections in the city of Kingston, if any of those kids go to this program, but the program is there to help the children of this community, and they need it. I just feel that the kids need these programs today, the Read and Write program, the places. What if it wasn't for the Read and Write program? What if they wasn't doing the virtual learning? What would happen to these kids? What would happen to the students that go to college? What would happen to their degrees? What would go on? So it all starts with these younger kids to get to where these older kids are at. you know, and the other two kids, the young boys that work with me, you know, for them as well. I really don't know what to say, but that the programs are needed and the funding is very important, because we can't always, it's not, right now it's up to us that are in the head of the program over to see that we have enough supplies for the kids. We have enough food to eat for the children, because like he said, some come who don't eat. And thank God for the places like People's Place or the Salvation Army, those types of places that are willing to give. I myself give. I come from my home and give out. I mean, people got to see the needs, what is needed, as opposed to what people want. This is something, the Read and Write program and the CCE is a needed place for children to be. And Drew, I believe Drew said, it's a safe environment for your children. You can leave them there and know that you're going to come back and your kids are going to be there. That's pretty much what I have to say.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, so we have 9 more speakers that signed up, and they're all here to support CCE. So if we could keep it to just a couple minutes each, that would be very helpful, since it's the same. All right, so the first one, I'm not seeing a lot of names, so maybe perhaps a lot of them left. Sue Weed, I believe.
Sue, go ahead, Sue. Sue, your turn.
All you have to do is unmute yourself on your side.
Does that come out?
Yes. Hi, Sue. You're here.
Hi, how are you guys? Hello?
Hi, we're here. You could talk. If you could keep it to a couple minutes, that would appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, no problem. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just going by what Drew said. So I'm at CCE. I also used to work until recently at the Hodge Center. So I know firsthand the work that is taken for these programs to run here at the Roundout, at the Boys and Girls Club. We're taking in the children that don't have a place to go right now. Schools are closed or schools are in a hybrid, but parents are returning to work. Parents need the kids to have somewhere to go, that are safe, they're doing their schoolwork, and you know, all the organizations, including CCE, needs way more support to be able to run these programs. They're paying staff. Usually these programs only have after school programs with college students or high school students as staff, getting 3-4 hours a day. Now they're running full-time programs since COVID started. So we do need more support to be able to keep this program running. There's 60 kids enrolled at CCE, like Drew said, that have disabilities, that have IEPs, placements where they need extra help, they need extra support. And right now, in order to be able to provide that, and for the kids not to regress even more than they already did during the time that they haven't been in school, we really need more support. And that's why we're asking for more.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you, guys.
So the other names on the list aren't here, but I do see a couple phone numbers. So if there's anybody who is in the meeting and would like to speak, can you raise your hand if you look at the bottom of your screen, there's a raise hand icon. Okay, great. Well, Sue, I already got you to speak. So this is Jay Lynn. All right, you have access if you want to just unmute.
Yep. Can you hear me? Hi, how are you?
Yes. Can you just say your name for the record, and then
Yep.
if you can keep it to a minute or two? Thank you.
My name is Jay Lene. Last name is Crawford, CRAWFORD. I'm here as a parent to represent CCE. I have a 7-year-old daughter who is enrolled in the CCE Project Access Program. I was asked to speak, but hearing, Drew speak and hearing Sue and hearing Kelly speak, my child is a 504 case. She does have some behavioral and learning problems. She was a student at GW school. When the COVID virus hit, Roxy was involved with the summer program that CCE had at the moment. We weren't even expecting for her to stay there this long. I think this program actually is now, affording her education. I'm a full-time worker. I work full-time. I'm an essential worker. What the program has allowed for our family, at least, is to be able to drop her off at 8:30 in the morning, just as we would at GW school. She's provided breakfast, lunch, and then she is there for an after-school program that she would normally go to for a regular day after school. I know you guys are parents. Some of the people on the board and the committee, I've never spoke with you before, but I do work with a lot of parents, and I work for Radio Kingston, and I have a radio show, and I live in Birchwood Village, which is, of course, right in the project area of our community. Our children here are really suffering, and without CCE and their funding and their programs, I wouldn't be able to get Roxy to school and pick her up at 12 or get her online at 10, 12, and 1 and 2 o'clock. Kelly is her read and write teacher. She's been able to fill in for Miss Christine, who was a teacher at GW. I'm not sure what's going on with the funding with CCE, but just what I was told today, a $10,000 funding for them, I'm sure only pays their payroll. They get limited support from the school district. I've reached out to GW school multiple times to see if there's some way that we can get the psychologist over there to see if there's any add back therapy support for these kids, because my daughter is one that never had severe behavioral problems in GW, and now being put into a program that she even said was a play program. And we had to tell her that CCE turned into her schooling, and that's where she goes to school now. She doesn't go to GW school right now. The environment is safe. They provide masks for them. I've never had any issues with them. There's been one COVID scare, I think, in the read and write program, and the kids were treated with respect, and all the parents were informed in a timely fashion. And I just wanted to say that Drew probably didn't sign up to be a teacher, and these people that are in these programs didn't sign up for this. They signed up as dance instructors, and they signed up as helpers and after school guides for these kids, and they have become their primary source of education. There's been no help from the school district to get the teachers over from GW to their facility to help them. I'm assuming if the district can get the kids and the parents to the school, why can't the parents and the teachers go, to these remote learning facilities? There's another learning facility in the Rondout Center. These are centers that are being overlooked. And I feel like if one thing is promised to them and they're allocating for a budget of $25,000 and then get a $10,000 budget, I'm not sure how they're paying anybody, and I'm not sure how those doors are staying open. But we're very grateful as parents, because at this point, we don't want to put our kids back into the school system until this COVID virus has either eradicated itself, everyone's vaccinated, or the next step is done. So I just wanted to speak on behalf of them, because they provide my child with everything: love, learning, care, compassion. They are where she goes to school, and they are her teachers now. And $10,000 is a drop in the bucket for the amount of money that these people should be awarded, because they didn't sign up to be teachers. So I just wanted to say thank you all for the funding that you do provide them. Kelly, Drew, Emma, Meredith, all of them are doing an upstanding job, and they have been since the beginning of this. So I hope that you guys take it into consideration, that the parents of these students, especially in the ones that aren't getting any help, especially the parents that are living over here in Birchwood Village and Colonial Gardens and Stuyvesant Charters, we rely heavily on them, and we get them there every day to make sure that they're educated. So I hope you guys can be there for them and support them with their endeavors to come, because I'm not going to take my daughter out of there unless they shut down until this is over. So it's very important that CCE be put on the top of your list next to everybody else, because they are very vital to my family, and I'm sure hundreds of other families. So thank you so much for letting me speak.
Thank you. There is another speaker, Josefina Martinez. So Sue, I know it's with you. If you want to just unmute yourself.
Yes, I'm on mute. Josefina's here. I'm going to translate because she's going to say a few words in Spanish. Josefina, diga lo que va a decir del programa que lo necesita.
Sí, que apoyen, porque necesitamos la ayuda para los niños que estudien, y les sirve de mucho para que ellos puedan aprender y no se retrasen, porque ahorita con todo esto que está, los niños pequeños deben aprender. Yo tengo 2 niñas pequeñas y necesito la ayuda para ellas.
Okay, I will translate what she says. So she said that it's very important that CCE gets the support. She has 2 small daughters here at CCE, and she needs them here so that they don't regress any more than they already had. They joined the program a little later than the other kids, so she did notice a lot of regression from her girls, and it is important. She's a single mom with the 2 young daughters here and 2 other kids in high school at home, and she needs the support so that her daughters could learn. She says thank you to everybody.
Thank you.
Gracias. Muchas gracias, Josefina, se lo agradezco.
All right, those are our speakers, and it looks like everybody else in here, everybody has spoken. So let me just check my chat. All right. Steve, I don't know if you want to take over, or you want to just close the meeting, or?
Yeah, we can close the meeting, I guess.
All right. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you to council members and Mandy and Amy. And I hope you, and Elisa, I hope you all have a nice night.
Thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks, everybody, for being here.
Good night.
Thank you.
Good night, all.
Good night.